So, והאש על המזבח תוקד בו, לא תכבה. Okay. We have a passive verb here. Can you identify which of the verbs here in this verse is passive?
Tukad.
Tukad, right. Let's say I don't know. How would I recognize that this is passive? So there is a vowel that is associated with passivity in Hebrew, and not just in Hebrew. In Semitic languages more broadly, but in Hebrew definitely it helps if you know that this vowel is oftentimes associated with passivity, and that is the u vowel in the verbs. Okay, we have tukad. Okay, let's give a few examples for the use of the u vowel as the vowel that marks passivity. Okay, so we have the tukad as this is a hufal or hofal, okay, which is the passive of the hifil, the passive of the causative will be made to burn, okay. Tukad, hufal. We also have the passive of the doubled stem, the D stem passive. I'll add the P for passive. H passive is the hufal. The D passive is the pual. Okay? Like shulam. Okay? Was restituted, was given as a payment. Shulam. Okay? That's the DP, okay, and we also have the passive participle of the kal. So G, P, if you will, participle. The G stem passive participle or the kal passive participle. And a good example would be Baruch. We know that word, right? What is Baruch?
Blessed.
Blessed. And you can see that they all have the U vowel. Either the kal passive participle following the second root letter, the pual following the first root letter, and the hufal following the prefix. Okay, so the position of the u vowel changes, but the use of the u vowel to mark the passivity is something that we see across these. By the way, not just in Hebrew. I'll give you examples of other Semitic languages which you know as well. How do you call a person who is submitted, who is surrendered before God in Arabic? You call them Muslim, right? Or Muslim, right, in English, but Muslim. Muslim means the one who is submitted. Okay, and you can hear that u vowel. Okay. The mujahideen, you can hear that u in passive participles. So v'ha'esh al hamizbach tukad bo. Okay, and note that esh here. What is the gender of the noun esh?
Masculine.
Is it? Tukad, tichbe, aleha, aleha,
Feminine.
aleha. Right, so they're all feminine. You can see the prefix, the tav, which is the prefix for the third person feminine singular noun. So we have tukad, tichbe, and we have the preposition al followed by the third person feminine singular suffix aleha. Okay, upon it, upon it, upon it. And that's the feminine. So esh here is feminine. Okay. So that's והאש על המזבח תוקד בו לא תכבה ובירר עליה הכהן עצים בבוקר בבוקר. What is this? Isn't one enough?
Plural, too. More than one morning, every morning.
Morning by morning.
Right. So the joke goes, sometimes cantors, they love singing the same word twice or three times, repeating it according to the melody that they decided they're going to give the world. And the joke goes that, you know, when God wanted you to say the same word twice, he wrote it twice. Don't worry, you know, for those cantors who, you know, sing several times the same word because it works with the melody. For instance, uveyom, 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 uveyom hashabat, uveyom hashabat, shnei chvasim b'nei shana temimim. So the verse actually has only one time, uveyom hashabat, and on the day of the Sabbath, shnei chvasim b'nei shana temimim. Two sheeps, 1 year old without any blemish. Okay. But the melody requires the cantor to sing it several times. So the joke goes, don't worry, if God wanted you to say it twice, he would have written twice. But as you correctly said, this is an adverb that repeats the word twice in order to talk about every. So Boker Boker would be every morning, okay? And you can see that in the translation here. I should say that the rabbis had an alternative explanation to say, you know why Boker Boker is the morning of the morning, very early in the morning. That the work should be done very early in the morning, as soon as the day starts. וערך עליה העולה והקטיר עליה חלבי השלמים. So the fire, if we're leaving the realm of just the grammar and the syntax and we try to dive a little bit deeper, so we have a constant fire kept in the temple. That fire continues, okay, the eternal, the fire that starts in Mount Sinai. In many aspects, the book of Leviticus is a transitioning from this covenantal ceremony of Mount Sinai into a reality of everyday worship, and to a presence that is not confined to the miraculous event of Mount Sinai, but rather interpreting it in a way that would keep on and continue the fire of Sinai in this ongoing situation of the tabernacle. And again, that fire goes back to a verse that we've seen when we've talked about the weekly portion of Yiqtol, and we have it here at the bottom. Let's read the bottom one. Anyone, guys? Don't be shy. Go ahead, Ulrike, please.
והר סיני עשן כולו מפני אשר ירד עליו אדוני באש ויעל עשנו כאשן הכבשן ויפרת כל ההר מאוד. Now Mount Sinai was all in smoke, for God had come down upon it in fire. The smoke rose like the smoke of a kiln, and the whole mountain trembled violently.
Right. We've talked about this verse, as I said, when we were in the parasha of Yiqtol, and we've talked about Eshin, and Ashano. So you're more than welcome to go back to that video on the YouTube channel. What I wanted to stress out is the fire that continues from Mount Sinai to the tabernacle. We've also talked about the meaning of being Haredi, ultra-Orthodox, Haredi in American kind of pronunciation, and the connection to Vayecherad kol hahar me'od. I think we've even mentioned the Quakers in that context. So that's a quick reminder. But here I wanted to stress the idea of Esh, and since that, we'll talk a little bit about the word Ba'esh. Last week we've talked about Reach Nichoach Ishe, Ola Reach Nichoach Ishe Ladonai, and we've talked about each of these words. Now Ba'esh combines the bet preposition, okay, with the word ish. This bet is bet instrumentalis, okay, bet of the instrument, bet of the mean, okay. The preposition bet is used for various purposes. Here you can see Boker Boker, marking the time of the action, in this case the setting on fire, okay. And here you can see the bet being used differently, being used to show the means, the instrument. God descended by fire, maybe even if you will, accompaniment, accompanied by fire, okay. So accompaniment or instrument, bet may be used in various ways, okay. So it's indicating the circumstances or the manner or the accompaniment of God's descension on Mount Sinai, in fire, with fire, accompanied by fire. So mipnei asher yarad alav Adonai ba'esh. Explaining why was the whole mountain fire, and that fire continues from the Mount Sinai to the tabernacle, later on to the temple, and so forth. Okay, the idea of fire that keeps burning is something that we have very strongly in our various cultures. You can think about the runners of the Olympic Games that start the Olympic fire, and they run with this torch, you know, from one place to another and keeping it burning and so forth. This is very deeply embedded in us as people from the dawn of history, because once you had fire, if you couldn't light the fire very easily, you had to keep it burning. Okay, because it's very easy to use fire once it's going, but it's not always that easy to start a fire. Okay, you know that if you're in nature, if you don't have anything to start a fire with, it's a challenge. Depends how damp things around you are, and if you don't have matches, it's a challenge. Okay, so that's a bit about the fire. Similar thing we can find with the idea of the blood, okay? And here I did not take Mount Sinai, I took the covenant of Egypt.